Hi, I'm Anatoliu, and this is the video submission for an Ever Oasis any% speedrun for RPG Limit Break 2024, with an estimate of 6 hours and 25 minutes. Ever Oasis is an action RPG released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2017. It was made as a kind of labor of love project by Koichi Ishii, best known as the producer of the Mana series, and the creator of iconic Squaresoft characters like Chocobos and Moogles. Ishii now heads the development studio for this game at Grezzo, which worked on the 3DS Zelda games before they developed Ever Oasis. So basically, this game feels a lot like a Zelda game that wormholed into a Mana universe. Ever Oasis was released on 3DS after the Nintendo Switch had already been out for several months, so it largely flew under the radar. The game definitely has a lot of heart though, and that's earned it a cult following. In Ever Oasis, you explore a beautiful desert world, make friends with residents to build your Oasis town, and fight the relentless tide of chaos with your best friend, Esna the Water Spirit. So far, Ever Oasis has only been featured in 2 speedrunning marathons, both online. The only other Ever Oasis speedrunner I know of, a Japanese runner named Shodai, ran this in Long Speedrun Summit 2021, and I ran it in Questing for Glory 2023. Shodai's marathon run in 2021 had an estimate of 7 hours. A QFG run had an estimate of 6 hours 45 minutes. Because of routing improvements and more marathon consistency, I'm submitting it today with an estimate of 6 hours 25 minutes. The basic speedrun route was innovated by Shodai in 2020 and 2021. He figured out some fundamental pieces of the run, like how to know when a new potential resident is going to arrive at the Oasis. He also routed out a very clean path through what feels like a pretty open-ended game. I took up this speedrun in 2023, adapting the Japanese run to the English version, which only loses a couple minutes to version differences. By continuing to improve the routing and focusing on clean execution, I've brought the record down by more than half an hour to 6 hours and 6 minutes. Ever Oasis is a very unique and fun speed game. In addition to the skills you'd expect in a run like this, clean movement in combat, quick puzzle solving, etc., you also need to watch the in-game clock very closely to stay on track to recruit the required 33 total residents for the speedrun. Management of the Oasis and completing resident requests is woven together with pushing forward on the main quest within a tight schedule to keep everything in sync. A funny part of the speedrun is that there are a couple spots where the fastest way to move forward is to counterintuitively wait for a moment, because the real speed tech is making all of your appointments on time. The speedrun route also features very optimized party management and use of monster weapon weaknesses and combo attacks to blast through tough encounters. Often the game can feel pretty brutal for your fragile party members, but the developers compensated for this by providing a limited number of free full party revives, which are used strategically throughout the run. For some fights with very deliberate movement, the battle is actually almost completely manipulatable. I have developed a full battle manipulation for one of the endgame boss fights, Terratoad, which completes the whole fight in about 1 minute and ends very satisfyingly with the monster eating a bomb and dying as the bomb explodes inside it. For a 6-hour run, Ever Oasis has some really nice pacing and makes for a comfy watch. The game shifts from Oasis management to exploration to Zelda-style dungeons with interesting boss fights, and rotates through this pattern a few times until an all-out last hour featuring 2 epic dungeons and several fast-paced boss battles. There are just enough breaks in the action, along with a few unskippable cutscenes, to be able to keep the audience up to date on both the heartwarming story and the speedrun details throughout the run. The run is very marathon safe, with only a few RNG-driven obstacles, mainly in the form of some uncommon monster drops, which, at worst, can cost about 5 or so extra minutes. Aside from throwing in some extra healing and saving, the default speedrun is already basically marathon ready. As far as charity donation incentives go, there are a couple visual forward ones, including picking the hero's name, which is prominently shown throughout the run, and their gender, as well as some aesthetic-only outfits which are obtained normally in the speedrun, but not usually equipped. Finally, I think a donation incentive to manipulate a bomb-eating Terratoad fight would be a cool one to drive for, as it's pretty special and not something most people who play the game casually ever get to see. None of these affect the run estimate. Thank you to the Games Committee for considering this run for RPG Limit Break 2024.